the now and here. Gaming tales you need to hear. Laugh and shout and sometimes sneer. Memories from all those years. Console wars and secret tips. Tips and tricks from pixel trips. News that pours from gaming sips. Critical minds and candid lips. And Generation X gaming show. Tune in where the thoughts flow. Rant and rave with words that glow. Weekly stories make them go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week, another episode of Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. I'm your host, 30 and Still Gaming, and joining me each and every single week is my brother, Sarge McCluskey. What's going on, bro?
Long time no week.
You know, it's funny. On Saturday, like, I don't know, over the Saturday, I'm like hanging out, and I go, oh, man, I got like a whole week before I come back to, this show, and it's like, woo! It's gone. It's like already here, and then it's crazy. It's how fast it goes. We're done with February. February's gone.
End of the week.
Like, tomorrow's the last day of February.
No, you're
28
too far ahead.
days in February.
You're too far ahead, bro. Did I miss a week?
Today's the 27th. Tomorrow's the 28th. What are you talking about?
Well, I'm missing a week.
Yeah, you're slow.
I'm
not ahead.
I'm missing a week.
Jesus Christ, chat. You see what I have to deal with?
I thought I thought today was the 20th, like the 19th or 20th. I'm behind.
That was last week, Sarge. That was last week.
Holy crap. Yeah, this is it. February's over.
Yep, February's done. Gone. 2 months gone. All right. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Wonder Woman canceled, which we talked about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's one for the boys. Okay, WB Games has Monolith Nemesis system under lockdown till 2036. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about DC opened up to making a video game equivalent to Marvel's Avengers. Marvel Rivals.
Sure you will.
Marvel Rivals. Fable delayed till 2026.
I mean, maybe.
Okay, Star Wars. No, it's guaranteed. They said 2026. Oh, you're saying it could go later. You're saying it could go later. Okay,
because we don't know. We don't know if GTA is going to get delayed till February, and then they're going to have to push back again.
Right, they pushed it back even further. Yeah. Right. Star Wars Eclipse, which earlier in the week they said it might be canceled, but then they came out and they're saying no, it's not canceled. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Kathleen Kennedy, for the 5th straight year running, could retire by the end of this year.
Right. You know what I noticed about that one? A lot of people are running with it.
Yeah,
she hasn't said dick, and
it's not official
all these news guys are just fucking running with it. I'm like, she didn't say nothing.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. We'll report on that. Disney Star Wars. If Kathleen Kennedy leaves, who's going to take her place? Right. We'll have that conversation a little bit, Sarge. Vogoda's showing up today, Sarge. Vogoda has got a booked segment here. Right. We're going to be talking about Dauntless. We're going to be talking about multiverses, and we're going to be talking about Wonder Woman. 3 games, all Vogoded. Okay, they're all done. Assassin's Creed, this company, Ubisoft, can't get a break, Sarge. Right? With all the drama, with all the stuff, here we are. Hard copies out in the public. People are playing the game.
But you understand, though, right? Before they decided to cancel it again because of their stupidity, the dates for shipping were already made.
Yeah.
Those things were on a boat because it takes time for them to get to where they got to go.
Right, because they'll just do day one patch or whatever. So they've been sitting in like GameStop or Walmart or Target.
Somebody released them. Someone
was like, "Whoa, what's this box? Ubisoft." And they're like, "Oh, damn!" And they're like, $100 a piece, and they stole it. So they're criminals, and they sold it for $100 a piece.
I mean, aren't those people going to be caught like immediately?
Well, they're out there. We got good numbers happening for Mecha Breaker open beta.
We all know why.
We're going to talk if we get to it. The Black Panther game, it's claimed that you get to pick your protagonist out of different Black Panthers. Like you get to pick which Black Panther you want to use. Okay, supposedly. And then if we have time, we'll talk about Harry Potter series. They've casted their first person that has the role of Dumbledore, so we'll talk about that. And we're going to watch a level cap video on Battlefield because he talks about what he would like to see in the game, which Sarge has been talking about for, I don't know, years. Yeah, for years, about what Battlefield could do to get people more engaged into the thing. If you guys like what we do here, we do this Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, Generation X Gaming, a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way right here on 30NSG. If you're watching over on X/Twitter, you can come over to the live chat over on YouTube right now, be a part of the live stream. You can also watch the past broadcasts or listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm, and anywhere else a podcast is listened to. That is it. Let's get to what we've been playing, Sarge. What we've been playing. Where's that thing? I lost the thing. There it is. All right, Sarge.
I know what that song reminds me of now. It reminds me like if you go to Hawaii, the hula girls that do the specific dance. That's what it reminds me of.
It's not why I picked it. Just was the best thing it sounded when I made it.
It's how I'm going to relate to it now.
All right. So another week, Sarge. I know you thought it was the 20th, and it's the 27th. So what did you play this week that you thought was last week?
I mean, not much this week. I was pretty busy. Doing some online stuff besides gaming. So I started. I know it's going to sound weird. I started like a Civilization 6 game.
Okay.
To see if I could get
Why
back
would that
into
sound
it.
weird though?
Well, because Civilization 7's out. I'm like, do I really want to buy that? So I started playing 6, and then I'm playing it. I'm like, it looks beautiful, but like, I don't care anymore. Like, the differences between the Civs now is negligible. And I get why you like it. Like, I'm a history guy, but I think 6 is fine. I don't think I need 7. And I hear 7's not doing too well. So for standard gaming reasons.
Are you playing on PC or are you playing on console?
Civ 6 on PC. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we tried to play Battlefield 1. But
we tried, and yesterday was the first time in a very long time that we couldn't find a server.
Yeah, but we probably were early. We probably had to stay inside the dead server until it picked up. Like, you have to be the body sometimes.
Yeah,
for the server to resuscitate. Yeah,
it's like sort of if you stood outside and just looked up in the air like this. Yeah, the next person would come along. Yeah, we stand next to you and look up in the air, and then there'd be like a group of people all standing up in the air.
We should have just stayed there. We should have just stayed there and let the server build because there's not a lot of people playing it. But I did play the campaign again because I was looking for like the field manuals and things.
Right.
And now remember, I haven't played Battlefield 1 in forever, right?
Since 2016.
Yeah, when the game came out. And so I'm playing through the actual missions. I'm like, yep, this is what a Battlefield game's supposed to be. Nice campaign, good storytelling about World War I. Got to find some things running around. Gunplay's good. It's fun. Like, man, this is what a game's supposed to be like, right?
Right.
Yeah. But I did the worst thing I always do is I pick a day for once a month and I look through the Steam catalog to see what's out, like gaming wise, just to see what's out. And I clicked on like what's new.
Well, they have Next Fest going on right now, so there's a lot of demos that you can try out different games.
I know, bro. I hit the button for new stuff. It's overwhelming. There's just there's literally so many games. Like I didn't even know where to begin. Like I'm like that looks interesting. I'll bookmark that one. I'll put that. That looks interesting. Am I going to wish list it though? I don't want any more ads. Every time I wish list something, they don't shut up. They keep sending me stuff. So I'm like, but there's too many games, bro. Right? And it stands to reason that we talk about anybody that comes out with a game, man, it better be ready to go, man, because you got a long list of people right behind you.
So many games you could try.
So many games. Yeah. Like you were talking about this morning, right? Like 18,000 games last year, somewhere in the neighborhood of 18,000.
Yeah, just on PC.
Somewhere in the neighborhood of 18,000. So no, let's just say 9,000 are total dog shit. No offense to any developers out there.
Even there's just 100.
Let's just say 9,000 of them are just total garbage, right? That still leaves 9,000 games for you to mess around with and look
but-
like it's crazy.
You don't. There's still static happening. I don't know if there's something happening. If you're brushing up against something, there's some static happening. I don't know. It's just static every once in a while.
I'll tell you.
If there was just 100 games, Sarge, 100 good games that people could play, okay, it would
I'm
be
sure there's
impossible. The stats that we heard from Matt Piscatella today, okay, 16. Did he say 16% or 14% of people only buy one game every 6 months? So that means they only buy 2 games a year. Okay.
We said the average person gets.
Then
2.
there's only, I think, 12%, or I think it was like less than 12% of the people buy multiple games a month across the.
Then they mentioned Dustin by name.
Oh, they mentioned Dustin by
Yeah,
name, like
then
that.
he- then
And
he
then
said-
Dustin buys
Right,
way
that-
too many games.
Yeah, then he
he's
said-
0.001%.
Yeah, they said a guy named Dustin he's within the 0.005%. He buys 5 games a month. He's part of the.
My mic is popping. I hear Starch static. I don't hear.
Is that a brand? Star Static.
No, they're saying my mic is popping. I don't know. It's weird. I don't hear the popping in here. I hear the static from Sarge's microphone.
I just like the fact that some of the stats he was talking about are basically been around for a while and no one really pays attention. My favorite one is where he said that consoles peaked in 2000. Was it 6 or 8? What did he say?
2008.
So the question comes up again: are consoles selling very well? The answer is sure.
They're just. They said they're at
They don't sell as much.
they're at the saturation point.
Yeah.
It's moving up like this, like it's just there.
No, I
They're
get
not
it.
extravagantly going up like it is at all the other places. It's just it's maintaining, but
Yeah.
there hasn't been an increase in sales since 2008.
Yeah,
But people
that's
swear
what
to me, Sarge.
that's what a peak
that
is.
consoles are
That's what it-
selling more than ever.
That's
more
what a
than
peak
ever.
is.
Yeah.
That's what. Right? Is Monster Hunter Wilds out today? I thought
Yeah,
it was
hold on a
I
second.
thought it was a Tuesday game. Isn't it coming out Tuesday, or is it out already?
What's
Or
that?
is it early access? Yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds. Is it out already?
It comes out today, tonight,
It comes
midnight,
out on a Thursday.
tomorrow night. I don't know.
I thought it was a Tuesday thing.
No, I think it's early access on Friday or whatever. Is that better?
So
I think it
we're
was
gonna.
my headset
we're-
was-
so
my
Jay
headset was
Breezy, are we
loose.
gonna see everyone's gonna cry because the game's too easy? Is that the best?
There's already articles, Sarge. There's
Is that
already
is that the
articles.
best that they're gonna do to find out how we're gonna talk
The
about this
fan
game
base-
negatively?
The fan base is upset at the people that are making reviews are saying that the game is too easy. It's an easier Monster Hunter than other games. Yeah. So going back to what we've been playing, let's not get off subject.
I jump ship all the time.
What other things have you been playing recently?
I mean, not much. My standards. I'm doing playthroughs for Dune Spice Wars. I'm trying to learn a different faction to play online, and I'm playing Dawn of War 2, not competitively, but online multiplayer, 3v3 stuff. Trying to get the rust off the sword.
I hear the static, but I'm not touching anything. It's
I
so
don't-
weird.
I don't know what to tell you, bro. You got bat hearing. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know what the hell's going on, chat.
I mean, we
Something's
were
happening.
talking for 40 minutes prior to the show. Did you hear any popping then?
No, not
No.
until we hit.
Of
Not
course
until we hit
not.
live.
Of course not. And just like you talked about at Microsoft today, and they
Fucking-
destroyed your stream.
Destroyed my stream this morning. Yeah.
Yeah, destroyed it.
I went to Next Fest and started downloading a bunch of games demos. Okay, so a couple weeks ago I played that cinema simulator, right? I found another one
That game made me
that
angry.
was-
I watched you
that
play
was-
it. It made me angry.
that was called Theater Simulator or something like that. I
Yep.
think it was Cinema.
Oh.
It was a more realistic one, which actually felt better, right? Because I didn't have to have an employee doing all the stuff. So this particular game, I don't have footage of it. So you have to order the stuff, sort of like the comic book shop one with the cards. You had to order gear, like supplies, like the water and the Coke and the popcorn and stuff, right? You have to stock the shelves behind you like you're working at a theater. You have one theater. People come in. There's a register in front of you, but then you have to rip the ticket out of the machine, put it on the counter, and then they order Coke or they order water, or I almost sound like a New Yorker, water, and then grab the
Water.
popcorn, right? And then you have to fill up the stuff. You have to fill up the soda machine, fill up the cup, fill up small, medium, or maximum popcorn bucket, and you're running back and forth, and the time is better. Like the timing is better in this game. So I was like, oh, all right, well, so this is in early access. I played that. Then I jumped into another game that was sort of like trading card simulator, but it was GameStop, and it was called Game Stock, I think it was called, instead of GameStop. And so basically you're running a video game shop, okay? And there's people coming in, and every once in a while they'll steal a game off the shelf and they'll run out the door. And then you got to chase them with a baseball bat, and you got to smack them with the baseball bat to get your stuff back, right?
Why do you have to hit someone with a bat?
I don't know. So
is that like the Brooklyn version?
Yeah, I guess so. So you're working a GameStop selling video games. Then I downloaded another one where you're running a Hot Wheels, like a slot card shop. Okay.
I'm sorry.
They're
Hot
all the
Wheels?
same. Yeah, Hot Wheels, right? So then you have to sell cars, like you're doing the trading cars, but they're cars. Okay. And then I downloaded another one, which is an electric shop. So you're selling like laptops, a keyboard, alarm clocks. I was like, Jesus Christ. And they're all coming out at the same time because they're all like,
of course they are.
TCG made a lot of money. Let's make a game like that, right? So
Yeah.
I tried a bunch of those games. None of them were really good. Okay. Altered says, you like simulators, don't? I mean, I play them just to see what they are.
What about that white trash simulator? You still play that one?
The white trash. Oh, the storage hunter simulator.
Yeah, white trash simulator. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played it in a while, but yeah, I mean, that was fun.
Have you advanced out of the trailer yet? Are you out?
Oh
of
yeah,
the
yeah. Well, no, I'm still in the trailer, but I'm making a lot of money.
You're making a lot of money, but you still live in the trailer, so you
Yeah,
are doing a white trash
I
simulator.
don't have time. I don't go back to sleep there. I just go back, sleep, and get back to work. Yeah. I don't care what my trailer looks like. I don't spend time there. Making money. Working my ass off.
If only they would spend a little bit more time on these simulator games to teach people how to actually run the business, like to teach people about business instead of being like just like third grade level. This is how the business works. Like teach you. Imagine growing up playing simulator games that actually teach you how to run a business. So by the time you reach 18, 19, you understand it. And
Right.
so if you want to run a business for yourself, you know how. Right. That's what a simulation game is supposed to be. Yes, it's supposed to be fun, but it's actually supposed to teach you.
No, I'm not gonna get. I've never played it.
Suitcase
I'm not
simulator.
Zuka Simulator. I'm not gonna get that. No, I'm not gonna pay for that.
What's that about?
That's the one we watched last week. The one that was the Assassin's Creed Shadows spoof.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Right.
I've also been playing some Marvel Rivals because they put Thing and Human Torch inside the game. Thing is a lot of fun, man. I played Human Torch a little bit, but I've been playing a lot of Thing, and I've been playing more of him than Captain America. So that's fun. And I really like the new map.
He a tank? Is he a tank?
Oh yeah, he's a tank. If you have a good healer on your team, you're like unstoppable. If you can get melted just like anybody else, if you put yourself in situations. I like his move set. I also like he's got this ability, and I don't know what it's called, but you hit LB, as long as you're looking at one of your guys, you leap at them like super far. So I use it to travel faster across the map. I'll let someone run ahead, all right, and then I'll see them and hit LB, and then I leap towards them, and you put this like shield around them, like this little rock circle around them. That's pretty cool. So I get into the mix of people. I like using his clobber in time when he has his ult going off. He's also got RB where he runs at him, and he runs sporadically. Like it's hard to control him when he's running, but if you run in short bursts, so you run at somebody and then hit RB again, he like smashes the ground and everyone flies up in the air. And then you can wind up your punch.
Group stun? Is it a group stun?
Anyone that's around will all go up in the air. Yeah, he stuns them. So it's a pretty fun. So if you time it and you know you're gonna hit somebody, right? So you hit the ground, okay, and then you wind up your punch and then you punch them, and then when you do that, you're doing massive damage to him. So he's a cool character. Human Torch, haven't played him too much, but he seems OP. I'm not saying that in a bad way. He's new. Obviously, they want you to use him and whatnot, but he's got this OP mechanic where he just like slams on the ground and then he can put the fire. And then he's got the tornadoes and stuff that he does.
Well, he seems to be more crowd control. His moveset looks like denying area. Not so much crowd control. Well, I guess
keep
that's
you
part of
back.
crowd control.
Yeah, I mean they're all pretty much crowd control. You want to,
but he's he's controlling a piece of ground. He's not controlling the guys there, right? He's denying you entry to an area.
Yeah, you're wrangling.
So
you're like wrangling people.
Yeah, it's a form of crowd control.
Try to get them all together and then work and then do a massive move on them. So they're doing a really good job with that game so far. And we're 2 months in now.
Have you played in a match where everyone's the
I played in a match with 3 of the 4 Fantastic Four, but I haven't been in a match with 4 of the 4.
There should be some kind of small bonus if all 4.
There might be a game mode where it's just the Fantastic Four game mode. Who knows?
If they just did some kind of PvE thing with the characters in that game would be off the chain, bro. People would be playing that 24/7.
Yeah.
Once again, insert comic book here.
Waterbear says, I love fighting against the Flyers as Penny Parker. Basically 3 shots to take down them 3 times. That's another thing that, Squirrel Girl. I've been playing a lot more Squirrel Girl because she was one of the events to do, like one of the missions to do.
Because they wanted someone to play her, and that's why.
Yeah, well, people play her. She's OP, man. If you know what you're starting to do with her, I start to understand how to actually play the character.
Well,
she does a lot of damage. She does a lot of damage.
If everybody's OP, then nobody's OP, bro. They're just good characters. They're just good characters.
Everyone at some point can be OP if you know how to use them correctly. Right. Other than Marvel Rivals, I'm also playing. We played Star Wars Battlefront 2. That was fun last night. We just played the PvE.
It's always fun.
Robert Jones and Mr. Luke joined us.
Always fun.
Yeah, those just good times. And then I've been playing Avowed. I played a lot of Avowed, about 21 hours into Avowed in the last week, I guess. And I like the game. It feels different than other RPGs. What I mean by that is, I've talked about this in the live stream. The people that did the reviews are like, nobody moves in the town, right? There's no fish in the water, right? It's like stuff like that. And I've been in the world and I've seen small groups of a town. They're moving around and it feels like the town's alive. I've been in water where there is fish inside the water. And that to me shows me that they were going to do what the other games did. But somewhere along the lines, they ran out of time. And at that point, you got to look at it and go, well, they ran out of time, so did they make the game better because they didn't go to that stuff and everything else is polished? The game, for me, I haven't had problems. I know it's optimized badly on PC, but for me, I haven't had any crashes. I haven't had any problems with the actual game.
I haven't played it. I haven't played it. I will say I've watched a lot of videos on it because I have to talk about it when we go on the show. And I understand what they're trying to do. When you look at that game and you look at the criticisms and then you look back at what is polished, you can tell where they wanted to focus the polishing in order for it to make it, quote unquote, a finished product.
I still think this game could have waited another 6 to 8 months.
But once again, you know it, I know it, and it's been absolutely proven over the last 5 years is they cannot budget the money that they have and the people that they are using.
Well,
that's why everything's always behind and you have to wait 6 months for it to come out.
Sure.
And they push it out the door.
But I think this will be financially successful for them because I don't think it costs anywhere close to what the other games cost.
We will see. Right?
Here's the thing that people don't understand. Obsidian, has made 4 games in 5 years. Okay? So think about that for a second, right? There's other studios out there that can't make 1 game in 5 years. And yet Obsidian has now made 4 games in 5 years.
Well, I'm sure the credit there is the fact that they have to have some type of outside contractors helping them, and they're doing it in some kind of assembly line fashion where they're working on multiple things.
If they can do what they're doing, yeah, but if they can do what they're doing and they're keeping the budget down and they're just going on Game Pass the way they are, then they're doing something. They're like the unsung heroes for Microsoft right now.
Well, they're
you have Outer Worlds 2
surviving.
being right. You have Outer Worlds 2 coming out. You had Grounded. You have Avowed. I forget the other game that they're right. And then there's one more. There's two more games that they're working on within the next 2 years. Right.
So when Outer Worlds 2 comes out, is it supposed to come out this year?
This year.
I lost track of the dates.
Outer Worlds 2 is supposed to come out this year.
So
because Avowed was supposed to come out last year.
Right. So let's look at it this way. Do you believe that Outer Worlds 2 will be more polished because of the fact that it's a
No,
sequel?
no,
No?
I
You
don't think
think
it'll
it'll
be
be on
more
the same
polished.
level?
I think they found what this studio does,
Mhm.
and what you're looking at Avowed or what you're looking at Grounded. Okay, I think that's it. It's like I don't know if this is what the games cost, but I think whatever Obsidian is doing, I think their budget Pentium. Thank you very much. Right, Pentium was the other one. I think their cost is 50 million to like 150 million, right? Which means they don't have to sell 5 to 7 million copies of these things, right? So they could sell a
You're
million to
there's still
1.5 million to 2 million.
I look at it from all angles. If they have a deal because they are under Microsoft now, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
if they
yeah.
have a deal with Microsoft to fit in the box by which their games can go onto Game Pass in order to sell Games Pass subscriptions, even if it's just a few months, then that works for them and they're getting paid and the studio can survive. That's fine.
Well,
The idea is when you're under that kind of protection, when you have the freedom of not having to worry about being canned immediately, right? That gives you an opportunity that if you wanted to try something new or try to break out in some way, that if the company does find something that hooks the numbers that they want, then they have a breakout hit and they can maneuver, right? They can try something a little bit bigger, right? That's the whole idea. Nobody is supposed to try to make a blockbuster every time, even though you're a studio that does make blockbusters, because you don't know. It's been proven by them. They don't know what we want. They don't know what gamers want. So you don't want to spend this huge budget on things. You're just trying to make a game that people want to play, have fun with, talk about it to other people, and they put it down and move on to the next thing. That's where you want to be until you establish a team that's good enough to have a breakout hit. And then once again, you don't know it's going to be a breakout hit, but that's the goal you're going for.
right. I mean, they've have a pretty damn good
This
resume.
roster's good.
Yeah.
This roster's good.
Right.
It's not off. It's not like insane, but it's a good list. Those are good. Those are decent games. They're good games.
I mean, here, just in the last 3 years. So Grounded has been out in early access for a couple of years, but it came out, I think it fully released in 2022, 2023. And then Pentium came out, and then Avowed came out, and now Outer Worlds came out. So, sorry, four games in 5 years. Do you know what I mean? And they've come out with a game every year for the last 3 years.
Well, if that's the time frame for the number of games, then they've got some kind of good system going on inside their office. If
Right.
they're pumping out those kind of games at that pace. I mean, as long as they're not burnt out, they're doing okay. I mean, listen, from all the stories that came out, the Western market's got to adapt because the Eastern market's going to overtake us because the devs cost too much money. Games are bloated. And we've been saying this for years. The games are bloated, right? Too many people, not streamlined enough. That's why all these if they don't sell 100 million copies and they're done, like you can't survive in this kind of climate with that.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing more Avowed after the show today. So after this show's done, we'll be going over to 30 and Still Gaming channel, where all the gameplay is now, and we'll be continuing to play our Avowed Part 6. Like I said, I'm about 21 hours in. I'm in the second area, so we'll be playing that later today. All right, or later tonight. All right, so that's what we've been playing. Let's go to the top stories, Sarge. All right, let's start off with this story of Bungie. Okay, so Bungie, I don't know if you've been following this story, Sarge. We talked about this.
If you said the word Bungie and follow the story, the answer is no.
Okay, so we talked about this story maybe about a year and a half ago about the potential of Bungie stealing someone else's story. Remember about the Red War?
Yeah, the story goes back to the fact that the actual writing of the Redfall storyline was stolen from somebody.
Stolen
and
or
it was
borrowed.
It was
yeah.
brought out. It was talked about. There were lawyers involved. We discussed it quite a few times.
So basically what's happening here is Bungie explains why there's no feasible way to play Destiny 2's vaulted Red War campaign, even internally in the new court filing. Now, Bungie's trying their hardest to just dismiss this case. They're like, yeah, let's just dismiss this case.
It's in the past.
Yeah.
It's in the past.
Look, our story is nothing like his, and they can't prove it. They can't prove it because they don't have the actual game anymore to show. So they had to go use Bife's video documentary of the story to show the court what the Red War was. Okay? Now, I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that Bungie stole this from the guy, but it does seem a little sus, Sarge. A little sus, right? So much that when you get a little slant eye going on over here, right? A little like the part that you can't play in the game is the part that can't be in the game anymore. Do you know what I mean?
You know how
the
much
part that we potentially stole can't be played in the game anymore. That's the only part that can't be played in the game. We've reworked everything. We've made the moon from scratch. We've made the dreadnought from scratch. We've done all these things because in this filing, Sarge, they said we can't do it because we would have to make it from scratch again.
After all the years of Bungie's nonsense and their flat out lies, we know that they can do back. Everything that they've done, they brought back. They removed it and they brought it back. Everything else that they've removed, they brought back.
But the Red War.
So to say that you can't do it is sus in the way that they know that they had done wrong on some level, and they had to try to get rid of it because they know they couldn't fight it in long term. But once again, good lawyers and a lot of time in between and stuff that just gets pushed under the rug. But to say that there's no feasible way to do it when we know they can bring back anything out of the vault, they can do it. They do it whatever all the time, right? So it's just a little strange that you want to die on this hill and say, this is the one we can't bring back. This is it.
It's just weird, though, because you could go back and play Destiny 1 right now.
Yeah, because it
right
wasn't
now. You go back and play Destiny 1. All Destiny 1. The whole thing is there.
The whole thing is there. Right?
You could play Destiny.
Weird how that works, right?
You could play Destiny from a certain point from not 2017, right? From like 2018 or whatever, and then on. Okay. And yeah, they did remove other stuff, but you just can't play the Red War. Again, I'm not saying that they stole the content, but it just seems a little odd that the only thing that you
can't
prove or show is the stuff that you're being accused of taking from the thing, right?
I mean, listen, there's two sides to the coin of Bungie.
In Bungie we trust.
Right. There's two sides of this coin. It's like the coin that Two-Face throws, right? There's the clean side of the coin and the dirty side of the coin. All those who've played Bungie for all these years and love the game to death only see the good side of the coin.
Oh yeah.
They don't see all the stuff that they did along the way in order to survive as Bungie. Because remember, they were on the chopping block more than a few times.
Yeah.
Right. And they saved themselves. Now, I give credit where credit's due. If the company was going to be in trouble and then you found a way out of it because you got bought up by another company or somebody else had to take over your problems for a little while, like multiple times. But there's nothing they're going to tell me that makes me believe that that particular piece of content is unretrievable. Like, I'm sorry.
Well, the actual words they use is, it says, this is from the engineer, okay? He says, in a new filing submitted this week on Tuesday.
Is it a red shirt guy? He's the engineer?
Content vaulting, Bungie's head of engineering, David Alridge, okay, stated under oath, okay, that the original Red War campaign was removed from the game in 2020, okay, and that is now impossible to access in any playable form, okay?
According to my lawyers.
According to him, he said, the archive is original game code. That rapid evolution of Destiny 2's underlining technology means that the Red War campaign is completely incompatible with the game's current operational framework. Even if Bungie wanted to bring it back, okay, we would probably have to rebuild it from scratch rather than simply reactivate it.
Yeah, because Red War was made with Ford Focus parts, and the rest of the game is now Lamborghini. And with this, they just
can't do
it.
it.
Can't do it.
We can redo the whole entire moon.
You believe
the dreadnought.
Right.
We can bring that stuff from
everything.
But we just can't bring the red broom. It's just that specific spot Just can't happen. Now, this is the same company, though, Sarge. This is the same company that told you that Microsoft dicked them over.
They told me a lot. They told me a lot.
This is the same company that told you Activision dicked them over.
Yep.
This is the same company that told you, well, we have to keep the lights on, right? This is the same company that told you that they had to sunset the weapons. There's just no way that we can't sunset the weapons until they told you that they don't have to sunset the weapons. This is the same company that told you that we can't put guns in there that you can create and make stuff, and then they put that in the game. This is the same company that said all of these things, okay, under these things. So, again, I'm not saying they stole it. I just think it's a little strange that one thing that they're being accused of, they just
I'm sure it's just one of those moments that people are all going to discuss how it's just such a coincidence, right? We'll just leave it at that. It's just another Bungie coincidence.
Right.
So,
but we'll see.
I mean, well, this year, I think this year is going to be kind of humorous for Bungie because I really want to know what's going on with Marathon. Like, I really want to know. Like, I really want to know if it's real.
They have to nail it out of the park.
Because I want to know what Sony's going to do if Marathon doesn't go well. That's what I want to know. Because this is just another one of these little things that Bungie put themselves in now. Under the protection of Sony, you have plenty of time to do whatever you have to do. I'm not, once again, I'm not playing the game. I've played for many years now. So I don't know how Hearsay is doing. How's Hearsay doing? Right? Anybody who's playing
Heresy,
Destiny?
It's called Heresy.
Heresy? Heresy.
Yeah, Heresy. I think
Somebody said Hennessy. I started laughing.
it could be Hennessy, but I think it's Heresy.
No, it's Heresy. Yeah.
So
yeah, I just gotta see it. I gotta see what's going on. I mean, here. Z, you know, like it's a remake, right? So like,
are you dying or drying? Are you drying to see it or dying to see it?
He's dying. If
He's drying. He's drying.
Yeah,
he's shriveling up, waiting to see it.
But I really want to know because it's a remake. It's not like they're basically doing a remaster of a game they did long ago, right? And if they can't get that to work, then issues, baby, issues.
Right. Well, speaking of companies that are just, there's no words for this, Sarge. Okay.
Well, there's words. There's
right,
words.
The next story we're going to talk about is Wonder Woman.
There's words.
Right. Wonder Woman.
I win on this one too. I'm winning big. I'm winning big this week.
I mean,
I'm winning big. I'm winning big this week.
You know what I could do? I could let me bring that up. Right.
I'm winning big this week.
I made a clip from 2 weeks ago. Let me find it.
I'm proud. I don't get this many wins in a row.
This was from you. Kingard came into the chat and you asked Kingard. You said, Kingard, do you believe that they're going to cancel Wonder Woman? And then I answered the question. I said, yeah, I do think. Right. So this is actually. Oh, let me.
Yeah, Zin. WB knows how to L, baby. Like if you're looking for L advice, if you're looking for maybe you want to try to take a dive for a contest, you want to take an L, you call WB up and just ask him like, what's your secret? What's your secret of taking L's? Do you believe Wonder Woman will be canceled?
Yeah, I think we see Vagoted. No, this is 2 weeks ago. I think Wonder Woman gets Vagoted.
I'm in the boat where it's not coming out at all. That's the boat I'm in.
And if it comes out, it's going to be a shill of what it was because they completely rebooted it and changed it, right?
See ya. Idiot.
Do you?
Idiot. God.
It's almost like they have no pride in actually finishing the product, right? Like they work for 6 months and they go, "How is it? Are we going to make $1 billion?"
For 5 years.
No, but every 6 months they go, "How is it? Are we going to make $1 billion?" Yeah, we're close. Okay, good. 6 months later, how are you guys doing? You doing all right? Are we going to make $1 billion?
Colors.
Are we going to? No, this is a t-shirt.
That wasn't even close to the same thing. Here, I'll bring it back up for you because I think you guys are colorblind. I don't know what it is. This is green. This is green. Let me bring up the video again.
And that's a collared shirt.
Right, that's a collared shirt.
Yeah. So
okay, he's wearing a gray shirt. That's gray. Okay, that's white with a collar, and then my shirt.
You think we did this
Do
today?
you believe Wonder Woman will be canceled?
Right.
Yeah, I think we.
That's a gray shirt, like a
I mean,
light gray.
it could be the
Look,
camera.
I
It
mean,
could be the camera.
for God's sakes.
It's a V-neck. It could be a camera.
For God's sakes.
Yeah, we made that today. Yeah, like we're not.
It
we're
was
not,
close.
we're not announcing this stuff on a daily basis.
Close. Close. Come on. God, was it close? Was it close? The static's gonna fucking drive me nuts. I'll tell you that though, because chat's hearing it as well. I know that.
I'm not touching anything.
I don't know if it's me, if it's you. I'm not touching anything. I'm not hearing anything, but I hear it every once in a while when we move.
Well,
All right. So Wonder Woman. Let's go back to Wonder Woman here. Right. So Wonder Woman got canceled. It's done. Okay. And how they do this, Sarge, again? WB. Okay, has
They are
IP after
pro-
IP after
pro
IP,
level.
and they just don't know what they're doing.
pro level L. WB knows how to do it right, man. Like,
They had the game
WB
in-
knows how to do it right.
They had the game in one state or form, and they rebooted it last year. So they worked on it for 3 years, almost 4 years. Okay, and they said we're going to change directions. They said, you know what, it worked. Skull and Bones did it. Ubisoft did it. Let's do it. Let's change it after 4 years, and let's change directions. Right. Then there was word that they were going to use the Nemesis system, but then they said, nah, let's not use the Nemesis system. Let's completely revamp the game. Monolith Studios is a good studio. Or I'm sorry. I have to do this because Monolith Studios was a good studio. Cut that short because Wonder Woman has also been Vagoda. And on top of that, the Nemesis system is locked in for another 11 years, where nobody else
that makes no sense.
Nobody else can use this Nemesis system.
Think how greedy you have to be in the gaming sphere that you came up with a mechanic, but you think that the mechanic is so good that we're not allowed to share it with anyone else.
Everyone's going to come to us to pay us for this such a good mechanic.
It was such a good mechanic that we're going to make people pay us for. But before we do any of that, I'm going to put it in a cave.
Yeah.
For 11 years. Like, bro. Instead of benefiting the industry with something that's cool that people can adapt, modify, add to it, you know, I don't understand, man. I don't understand why they do these things. It's almost like that they don't want the industry to flourish. It's almost like it's a me thing, right?
Right.
It's not a us thing. It's not, hey, look at this mechanic we made, and let's let it out. This way other people can make modifications. Come on, like I bet you can name 5 or 6 games that could use the Nemesis system and would fit perfect.
I was talking about this earlier this week. I said, imagine Cyberpunk, but with a Nemesis system. Imagine The Witcher, but with a Nemesis system. Imagine Starfield, but with a Nemesis system. Imagine Assassin's Creed with a Nemesis system. Imagine Avowed with a Nemesis system, right? All of these games would be a better game if they had the Nemesis system in here. And WB on their high throne of, I'm in debt, we can't make shit, our movies are sucking, our TV shows are sucking, our comic books blow balls, and our video game department is absolutely trash. They're like, we're going to hold this Nemesis system back here because everyone's going to come and run. They're like, nah, we'll just wait. Right? Bare minimal viable product, right? All of these games would have been a better game, better experience with the Nemesis system, yet they don't want to use it at all. They literally have a Game of Thrones game that just came out, which is a gacha game, okay, that they could have used. If you think Game of Thrones, the Nemesis system should have been in a Game of Thrones game. Hands down, built around, right? That whole system is based on, like, Game of Thrones is a Nemesis system.
I'm not saying like it's the golden goose of mechanics. It's a good mechanic, but the fact that they're trying to keep it from everybody is just asinine, man. Like, you want the industry to have good people, imaginative, creative people, and when ideas come out like this, you're supposed to put them into the pool and let other people work with it because it gets better. Instead, you're going to delay a mechanic now for 11 years, right? Now, I'll be honest with you. If I was the rest of the gaming community, I would go pull the patent and look at it and try to do anything possible to recreate it without doing the same kind of exact things that they do and just work my way around the goddamn patent and make another one because it makes no sense.
Even when it's done in 2036, when it's done and it actually comes out, that means they can start using it in 2036, meaning you're not going to see a game with it until 2040.
I mean, they'll make the game with it in there and then wait for the thing to add.
Wait for the patent. You think so? Yeah.
Yeah. Just wait for it to end, and then they'll have the game ready to go,
maybe.
and then release it. But still, it seems asinine to me to hurt your
Grand
own
Theft Auto
industry.
6 with the Nemesis system.
I mean, and the one that you played with, and it was Shadows of Mordor, right? That was the one that came out. That was it. It was Shadows of Mordor.
Yeah, Shadows of Mordor. Yeah.
The fact that it was a good system inside the game, but it was a basic system. So imagine what it would be like today if people were allowed to mess with it. Right. Wouldn't it be awesome if during some kind of action adventure RPG you mouthed off to somebody and you were just fucking around, right? You were just fucking around, and then later on during the game you hear, right. Remember me, buddy?
Yeah.
He comes flying out of the forest to try to cut your head off because you remember me, and then you get into a boss battle in the middle of nowhere because he remembered you shit talked him.
Right, where your choices
like
would
10
actually
hours ago?
matter. You know what I mean? God, Mass Effect with a Nemesis system.
Why would
Come
you?
on now.
Why would you want the game to feel more lifelike and lived in, bro? Why would you want to do that? Let's give it up for WB for another big L. You know they are. Listen, if once again
they are the Hasbro.
If you're
video
looking,
games.
If you're looking for L's, man, call up WB. They know how to do it well, bro. They are on top.
Whatever you don't want to do hey, how did you guys fuck up so bad? We weren't calling you for advice to how to succeed. We just want to make sure we don't make the same mistakes that you guys did. You guys did pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, can I talk to the executive producer? I want to know how to spend $150 million and not get any return back. How do I do that? Can you tell me how to do that?
You know,
Like they'll be back to you today by noon. Don't worry about it.
well,
We'll have it fact to you. We'll have the exact list of how to proceed.
Well, this next story, Sarge, because WB's hurting, right? WB's hurting. They're looking for any type of game to work, and they just got rid of everything, and they're going to triple down on Batman, and they're going to triple down on Harry Potter franchises, right?
Right.
They're gonna fuck up in some way, shape, or form. They're gonna fuck up Hogwarts Legacy 2.
Right.
They're gonna try.
Batman's in a wheelchair, and Harry Potter is a monkey. Right. That's the direction they're going.
That's it. And they're in talks now that DC's open to making a video game equivalent to Marvel Rivals, which
Sure they are.
When Marvel Rivals came out, I said, imagine DC Rivals, right? We talked about this right away. Okay, we know it's going to happen. Come on, you know it's going to happen.
I think what they're going to do is what WB will do is they'll steal all the resources from Concord, Lawbreakers. They'll steal all the assets from Lawbreakers, Concord, and what was the other hero shooter? The bad one that came out a few years back.
Just make up one. It doesn't matter.
Just steal all the resources, slap on DC faces onto the characters, call them DC characters, and release it. Done deal.
Yeah, they're going to make a DC equivalent to Marvel Rivals 5 years later. And then they'll miss the boat. They'll be like, oh, it's not as popular. Marvel Rivals is moving on to something else. They'll have They'll have 150 characters in the game. They'll have like PvE, single player games, and Marvel Rivals will come out. We've got 10 characters. Woo!
It's almost like they're always late to the party, and then when they get there, they've spent too much money on shit that they shouldn't have spent money on.
It's the guy. It's Dave Attell. Remember Dave Attell, his comedy bit where he talks about arriving to the party late?
Oh, well, his bit is
keep it clean.
Goes,
keep it clean.
I'll try to keep it clean. His bit is, why is it 5 minutes after you leave all the fun shows up? Like
right.
you're at a party and you leave and then you goes, oh, you should have hung out, man.
Should have hung out, man. That's WB.
Because after you left, the Dixie Chicks came and gave everyone a BJ.
Yeah, right. Even the guy in the Babylon 5 T-shirt got one.
Got a handy, and it's never gonna happen again.
That's Warner Brothers.
That's WB.
Right. Warner Brothers is also Steve Buscemi when they're like, "Hey, fellow high school kids, You know, we want to make a game, and they're like, yeah, come on in, WB. We're all leaving now. We've already made this, right? WB has no idea what the fuck they're doing, right? Has no idea what they're fucking doing.
But
It's so.
Do you think they call anybody? Like, do
No.
you think they call anybody in gaming, or is it still the same 6 suits who think they know how to run a business, or do they call anyone in gaming? They're like, hey, do you guys make games?
They call their best friend up. The guy is 70 years old. He calls his best friend up. Hey, you're a gamer. Yeah. What's the last game you played? I played Pong. Yeah. All the kids are really raving. We should make a
Pitfall 2.
DC Pong.
Yeah, Pitfall
Pong
2.
game.
Pitfall 2 was awesome. Oh yeah, I remember Pitfall 2.
Like,
Yeah.
what are we talking about? They're doing absolutely nothing. Wolverine says, genre saturation aside, good game people will play. Rivals is prime example. Now, that's not to say that WB will follow suit. Didn't the Smash-esque game they came out with stop getting updates? Yes,
Yeah.
because they're idiots.
Fighting games were done. Yeah, fighting
because
games
they don't know
to
what they're
them.
doing with the IPs, Wolverine. That's what I'm saying. Like, look, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You know what I'm saying? Like, WB has all these IPs,
Tons.
but they don't know what to make it with. They're like, hey, let's make a fighting game. That fighting game over there works. And they're like, why isn't ours working? Because you're not making the game fun. You're making it grindy, microtransaction hell. And by the time everyone leaves, like, they had the hottest game, 2022 to 2023. And they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to close it
Ignore
down.
We're gonna ignore.
We're going to close it for a year. Okay. And come back 1 year later in a shittier state than before it left. That's WB.
That's
They
pro
don't know
level,
what
though.
they're doing. How do you add one Game of Thrones character into a game? How do you add just Shaggy and Velma? Where's the rest of the Scooby gang? Where's Scooby? Right? Where's the rest of the Game of Thrones? Where's Harry Potter? They're adding Aquaman and Lulu Rabbit, whatever. Like, oh yeah, that's what people really want, right? Where's the Animaniacs? Where's Daffy Duck? Porky Pigs? Elmer Fudd, right? Yosemite Sam. Like, where are all these characters and these IPs that you have? Nope. Let's not do any of that. Let's not make any kind of fun things whatsoever.
I think that Keeley should make an award this year, like King of the L's, and give it out to WB. Right?
Yeah,
that
the
should be
award for worst run studio, which is, it's sad that you can actually make a category because there's so many. There's so many bad studios.
But I think WB's got it because they're losing across multiple businesses, right? Movies and gaming. Like they're covering the entire spectrum of how to lose. It's just sad. It's sad to me.
The multiverse game is a fun game.
Yeah,
but they just
but they asked the questions. They're like, listen, can we monetize this game? And they said no. And they said, well, why don't we put it on hold? And the other guys in the back said, but if you put it on hold, everyone will forget about it and move on to the next game.
No,
And
we're
like,
WB. We have so many IPs.
Yeah, we have so many IPs. They'll never forget us. Like, okay, great.
Look, you know it's bad when a mission to do is to play the game, but you have to buy one of the T-shirts to have your character wear that T-shirt to then get credit for that event, right? Like, bro, hold on a second. Like,
we're abusing
what are we doing?
We're abusing this poor dog.
This dog, like, I'm sorry, you want me to buy a shirt?
It's the
so I
best
can
side
complete
eye. It's the best side eye. It is the best side eye. It's almost disheartening to see so many IPs just go to waste. They should pass some kind of laws that if you abuse an IP 3 times, that you foul it up, that you have to give it to somebody else. You have to allow somebody else to make a game with it, just so somebody else gets a chance, because you don't know. It's like petting the rabbit until you kill it, because you don't know how to stop. You don't know how to stop petting the rabbit.
Look, NetEase and all these other companies, EA, they have to call Marvel up and be like, hey, can we make a Star Wars game? Can we make a Marvel's game? And then Disney says, sure, and give us some money. WB doesn't have to call anybody. They bought Player First Studios, okay? First Studios could have been up, hey, I would like to put this in the game. WB like, yeah, go ahead, put it in. Nope. They don't have to call anybody. They were the studio making the game with the IPs. And WB's like, I just don't know what's happening here. I just don't get it. Meanwhile, EA made Battlefront 1 and 2. They had to give 25% or whatever for upfront fees to Disney, right? NetEase is making Marvel Rivals. They have to give them a shit ton of money just to get the licensing for all the characters they want to use.
Yep.
WB didn't have to do any of that. They own the studios and the IPs, and they still fucked it up. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Slow Scope, thank you very much for the membership. Appreciate that. Absolutely amazing. Krebsy says, are we sure WB and Hasbro aren't sharing the same talent pool? Maybe. We're not sure. No, we're actually not sure. Okay.
And Al Dente, they do. They have an arcade game inside their office, but they don't set it to free play. People are still putting quarters in it. Like instead of opening up the door and setting it for free play for their employees, that they still have quarters. People are still putting quarters.
Everybody's asking for a Batman game. Maybe we should give them a Batman game. Yeah, Batman. How many characters do we have? We have 2,000 IP characters that we can use. All right. Out of all of these characters we're going to use, I think we should use Batman. I'm Batman. That's it. Right. You know what?
Somebody out there is making a spoof video on WB right now. And I can't wait.
It's the
I can't wait to watch
WB.
it. I can't wait to watch it. Right? Did you know that somebody said that the Michigan J Frog song is racist? You know that, right?
How is the Mission J Frog song?
Because of the way I'm letting you know that's the level that we're at, bro. It's crazy.
Whatever. You know what, Kingert? I don't know if you're here, Kingert, but if you're watching this after the fact, you need to make a video on how bad WB fumbled everything. Like everything, just the IPs they have.
It would be like a 3-part series. He'd have to divide it up. It'd be like how WB got King of the L's, and it'd be like a 3-part miniseries.
It's ridiculous. I don't know. Speaking of ridiculous,
it would be like The Stand. It would be a 3-part miniseries, like The Stand. You'd have to watch it.
Yeah, it'd be a miniseries. Okay, so let's talk about Microsoft real fast because they delayed Fable. Okay, they delayed Fable. Let me bring this up. So, I don't know why I did that. Sorry.
I just can't, dude. It's just too much. It's too much of the same. It's the same shit. Like nobody knows what's going on.
So Fable is being delayed till 2026, right? And
allegedly.
No, it's not allegedly. It's guaranteed. Well, you're saying allegedly because it could get longer. You're thinking, right? So I think they're doing this 100% because obviously they want to get it out early, but they need more time, and the time it would come out is around the time that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to come out. So they just said, you know what, you have a year. All right, you have one more year from this point on, and we'll release it. And they haven't said what date. They just said 2026. I'm assuming February of next year, right? February.
Yeah, it'll be
April.
It'll be a Valentine's Day release, and they'll release it with her face on the cover.
Right. Right.
So I seriously believe that the actress needs to sue them for defamation.
The actress is she's
beautiful.
Cute, man.
She's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful one.
I don't know what they did to her face in the
whatever program maybe the program that scans the faces in was programmed by an angry feminist, and that way no matter whose face you scan in, right? No matter whose face you scan in, it makes you look uglier than you actually are on purpose.
Yeah, it's like the filter from like Instagram or something, right?
It's a reverse. It's reversed.
You put the filter on, and it does one of those weird facial things on your face to make you look like bald or ugly or whatever.
Yeah. It's mind-boggling. And I saw you did the little comparison. Was it on Tuesday or Wednesday, where you show the male actor and the male
actors look exactly like the male actors.
They look like
they don't change unless they're playing some other weird character, like the guy who played Venom, right? Like, you know what I mean? But the main protagonists or the main actors in the thing, like the guy who's playing Spider-Man looks like Spider-Man, right? The guy who's playing Miles Morales looks like Miles Morales, but the girl who's playing Mary Jane looks nothing like the girl who plays Mary Jane.
Looks like the dude from Leprechaun. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand
it's
why.
So weird. But anyway, let's go to Fable, right? So Fable's getting pushed back to 2026. They're not saying it's because of Grand Theft Auto 6. They're just saying they need more time to polish or whatnot. So I'm fine with that, right? So if Fable comes out and needs some more time to polish and it comes out sometime next year, here's when you'll know they're lying, okay? I kind of hope that Grand Theft Auto gets pushed back out of this year. Just so the fact that we know the reason that Fable got delayed was because of Grand Theft Auto 6, right? Because if Grand Theft Auto 6 is like, we're coming out in November, okay? That's where everyone thinks it's coming out, okay? Right? End of October, November-ish. All of a sudden it gets close to it, and Grand Theft Auto Rockstar goes, we need a little bit more time. We're going to delay to February. And then Microsoft's like, son of a bitch, we got to move Fable. We got to move it back to October of 2026, right? Like that's why they didn't say any date whatsoever. They're just keeping it 2026. Okay. This game has been in development for 8 years. 8 years.
Like what do you at the 8-year mark, what are you polishing?
But here's the thing, 8 years, if this is their AAA game, if this is their game that's like a Spider-Man or God of War that costs $300 million.
Yeah, it's 8 years, bro.
Right.
If they didn't have any problems, right? If they just went through a normal development cycle, 8 years is about $300 million, bro. If I take the average salary and the size of their studio, it's yeah. So you have to say to yourself, this is an all-in thing. You have to make sure this game sells well. Like otherwise, it's another studio down.
Right. El Dente, were you here for the first episode of this podcast?
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you this question:
It's a long time.
Is Fable part of Microsoft at all?
Yeah, Fable. They bought. Yeah, they own Lionhead Studios.
They do own Lionhead?
It was Lionhead Studios. They owned it, closed Lionhead Studios down, kept the IP, gave it to Playground Games to make the
So then they own Playground Games.
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason why I'm asking is, once again, they're in a position where they are under the net of Game Pass, right? Because when Fable comes out, they're going to get that Game Pass money. So even though they might not sell the numbers they think they're going to sell, aka underperformed.
Yeah, but the Game Pass money is different for third-party developers than it is for independent developers than it is to first-party developers. First-party developers are getting paid a paycheck, right? They just get the money from Microsoft and they get tossed in. What I'm saying here is, if this game costs $300 million, they're not going to recoup their money. They can recoup their money off of a game that costs $50 million to $150 million to even $200 million, right? Yeah. If this thing's like $350 million, you're only putting it on PC and Game Pass, it's not going to make its money back.
No, it needs to be everywhere.
Right, it needs to be everywhere.
It's got to be everywhere.
Okay, but if the budget's low, then they can make their money back. But I don't think it's that.
8 years. 8 years is a long time, and I can pretty much guarantee that after the game comes out, good, bad, or indifferent, they're going to have some kind of story on the trials and tribulations of the development cycle of Fable. You know that's coming because 8 years is a long time. You know there's at least 2 or 3 direction changes during the 8 years. Otherwise, it would have been done in 6, right?
Right.
It's a long time, man. 8 years to release a game is a long time. And you have to make sure that game is done well, man. It can't be 6 months down the road, wait for the DLC, wait for the patch.
I would really hate if this game comes out and it's just not it has to be polished, man. I like the Fable series. I love the Fable series.
You played them all, right?
I played them all. Yeah.
Okay, so you saw the incremental changes and
better
and
better
they
every
bettered the game each time.
Yep.
So now they're trying to outdo each other, but they probably went all crazy, right?
Yep.
Listen, I thought it was enjoyable. I thought the Fable series was just that. It was like a fairy tale type of game, right? Like you literally left other games and you went into this other strange world like Fable. Right? It was it's like a double pun on the part of the developers. It wasn't like any other game. It was like weird. The magic system was interesting. I remember the combat system, right? I thought the combat system was intuitive. I liked the magic system. I liked all the little cute things you could do inside the game. It was just made for fun, right? It wasn't like super challenging, but there were enemies in the game that would just kick your ass if you weren't prepared. It was almost like I compare Fable's combat system to like the beginning stages of what the Witcher combat system ended up being, right?
Yeah.
Fable was like the beginnings of that kind of combat system, and Witcher 3 grew upon.
It was very
kind
smooth
of combat
the way
system.
you could transition from melee to magic and stuff like that.
Yes, right. And everything was combos. You could do combos.
Which basically that's what Avowed's doing right now. with the magic and the melee combat.
And that's one of the strong points I like about the game, is the fact that you have magic and melee intertwined.
Yeah, I might switch my. It's hard though. I have really good gear, and I don't want to switch, but I want to try the magic out. I haven't really tried.
So just do another playthrough. You know how the game plays. Just play another playthrough.
Yeah, I guess.
Do the playthrough on melee, and then you know how to skip everything now. Then go back and play magic, full blown magic.
Yeah, Aldente, I know your name from Twitch. I just didn't think you were there from the very first episode. I thought you came in like, I don't know, maybe like episode like 20 or something like that. It's fucking a long time. It's a long time. All right. So from Fable, do we think, Sarge, you think it's gonna get delayed again? I think it comes out in like February, April time, like this beginning of next year.
I mean, if nothing else was involved, I say it comes out in February, March. If nothing else and nothing else happens. But if Grand Theft Auto gets pushed back for whatever reason, then it gets pushed back again. They would use the fact of the game in order to polish. Once again, right? We say this every effing week. You know when your game is done.
Yeah.
Right? The last 6 months, maybe we'll say 3 to 4 months. The last 3 to 4 months is all polishing. The game is done.
Right. The game's done. You're just tuning.
Right. The last 3 months is all about polishing. If you're not ready to release this year, that means you're not even close to polishing yet.
Right.
Right. That's the issue. The issue is they know when they're done and they know how long it takes to polish. So I'm concerned. I'm concerned because I don't think they're going to be happy with any release date that they have, because once again, if your game is not done on day one, people don't have no sympathy anymore. They move on, right? They just move on, right? Like your buddy said in the interview, game companies right now have to crack through Fortnite.
Right.
Yeah,
the top 10 games.
Your games have to crack through Fortnite in order to be
free to play
noticed.
games. Right.
To be noticed.
Yeah.
So if you're not, if you crack through the Fortnite and the Pokemon games and
right,
you're noticed, you got your shot's
right.
got to be.
You got to take your shot.
Your shot's got to be ready. You got to be ready to go. Otherwise, they just fall back into the
right. If they're stopping to play that game or COD or Minecraft or Roadblocks, and they're like, "Oh, let me check out this game,"
you better.
And then your game's not ready.
You better.
They're like, "I'm going back," and they go right back to where they were.
That's it. That's it, baby.
And this is why I say, make a game, sell a game. Right? Make that game the best it could be, not fixed 6 months from now, not fixed 12 months from now, not fixed 18 months from now. Finish your game and push it out. And then, but they would rather see if it
looks beautiful, though.
It does. It looks really good, right? Besides her face. Everything else looks really good.
Right, besides the leprechaun.
Yeah. So if they just put that time into it, but what they try to do now is that the other game you looked at today, Jump Ship, right? Jump Ship looks like a really fun game. It looks like a game that you would play just periodically over the weekend or whatever, okay? But then we heard Force Gaming talk about it, I was like, oh, it feels really repetitive, and they're going to push it out early because it's early access, okay? And the hype is then. People are like, oh my God, this is so much fun. It's you can do this and that, but the game's empty because it doesn't have all the stuff, right? And by the time they put all the stuff in the game, we've already moved on to other games.
Next.
Right. So instead of doing early access and putting it out there and going, oh my God, and they get Twitch streamers to play it and everyone's getting hyped up for that game, keep it quiet, do behind the scenes stuff, talk about it, make sure the game is nice and polished, put it out, and then add stuff to it afterwards. But the game has to be complete. It has to have enough stuff in the game. Otherwise, you're wasting your shot.
The video that he was talking about and he was going over with it, the game didn't. The review was good. What he was talking about, not the review, but the descriptions of the game. But the game didn't seem to have a lot of purpose built into it. Like it was more for just it's for fun. I get that part,
right?
But if you have
wasting, when I say wasting, it's like shooting the shit for an hour and a half and having fun.
Right, but if you don't have some kind of purpose to keep me wanting to run the gauntlet,
right?
There's no
progression system for the weapons, no progression system.
And after the first few times the fun wears off, you need a reason to do it. Like I had the same problem with Sea of Thieves because there was no purpose. It was for fun. It looked great. It was fun to be 4 players on a ship. But in the beginnings, not now. The game's done much more polished now.
Very shallow.
It's very shallow. So.
Yeah. I was blown away when I was playing Sea of Thieves, and I was like, oh, it's really fun. But I thought they were going to release it like I was in the playtest for 2 years. I was like, that's a fun game. It's really fun. And they're like, hey, we're releasing it. I was like, what? You're releasing it? There's nothing in the game. Like, I thought they were going to add more stuff to the game. And when it came out, it was so bare bone. It was just the 3 merchants. It was like no progression system. It was just get the treasure, go back and whatnot. It's just like, okay, now there's tons of shit to do inside of Sea of Thieves, right? It worked out for them. But again, there's no pirate games. You know what I mean? The pirate is what made it stick out amongst everything else.
But let's be honest. Let's look at Jump Ship, and you know that they decided they were going to follow in the footsteps of Sea of Thieves.
Right.
But they were going to do the space version, right?
Yeah.
And once again, I'm not putting them down for that. That's how games work. Someone sees an idea, they think they can do a better version of that idea, and you want to call it a copy or clone, whatever language you guys like to use now. But the fact remains is that's how you end up with better games and entire genres of good games is they build upon an idea and they make it better. So
right.
It's not a huge deal. I mean, the blatant cloning of a game and not trying at all, we can identify now. Most people in this chat can identify a straight up stolen clone from somebody.
Sure.
Right. But they're trying to do the version of Sea of Thieves in space. So once again, if there's purpose in the game, any reasons why to go back, the longevity will be there. But if you don't, if the game's shallow and you don't give me reasons, once again, another 8,000 games after you, somebody else is coming out with something.
Right. All right. I'm gonna do some fast stories here just to go through a couple of them. Mecha Breaker, which is in beta right now, I believe on console and PC. I played it a little bit, not much. If I
was 17, I'd be so excited about this game.
Fucking robots and ass. I mean, that's all you need. I mean, right?
Let's
be honest. What's selling here?
That's my entire weekend.
50% hot girls, 50% robots. That's all you need, right? Or I'm sorry, mechs, right? So Mecha Breaker opened up beta, hits 317,000 concurrent players on its first day. A little bit better than Concord, just a smidgen, just a little bit more than Concord. Mecha Breaker open beta launched earlier today and has already seen over 300,000 concurrent players try the game. Mecha Breaker sees players take control of giant mechs in third-person personal multiplayer shooter. The game features 3 unique game modes filed with high-octane ground and aerial combat. So let's look at a little bit of
since September 10th
footage here. We'll mute it and we'll just look at the footage. Come on now.
The female pilots remind me of Bubblegum Crisis. I'm an old guy with the old animes in mind, so if you guys don't know what Bubblegum Crisis is, you guys can look it up. But those chicks remind me of Bubblegum Crisis.
I want to see gameplay. Yeah, look, like hot chicks. I mean, they can't hold a stick to Fable's character. Okay. Hot chicks.
But the Fable character is strong and independent.
Yeah, stunning and brave. Okay, yeah. And then you got mechs. You got mechs and chicks. Right? Like,
I mean,
where's my Transformers game?
Let me ask you a question. Is anyone offended that they made a game with mechs and chicks in it for boys to want to buy a game? Does that offend anybody?
I mean, there are guys in the game as well, but yeah.
Well, no, I understand that, but the target audience here, right? Okay, so I don't understand what the problem is that when you try to make a game that is directly towards the market you want, like directly, like a shotgun to the face. This is for you, right? I don't know why that should be bad. It looks like a mix between Gundam,
yeah,
right. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like Gundam. It looks great.
I might have to try this again. Bo says when I played the game, I made my chick thick.
Of course.
Yeah, there you go. All right, there you go. So it looks good though. So they're hitting numbers left and right. Like I said, no one's Veilguard's numbers weren't anywhere close to this. Avowed's numbers aren't anywhere close to this.
It's like one of those crazy animations from back in the day. It's what it looks like. It's the animations in this game is done exactly like the animated shows. Right.
One of my projects in film school is I had to take a show like this, like an animated show, and I had to come up with all the sound effects
he's
for
a
the
fuck-
mechs.
Oh, look at this. He's gonna go full crazy. Yep. The mega attack. Yep. I always love the charging of the mega attack. That was like always my
Look
favorite
at
thing.
this. Come on, man. This is just fun. What would you rather play, this or Concord?
I mean,
This or fair game?
I don't even have to answer this question, right?
This or, I don't know, pick a Battlefield, Extraction.
Look at this. I mean, is it just a boss game, like a boss battle?
No,
game,
it's a
or is
multiplayer
it-
5v5, I think, or 6v6.
Is that what it is? It's a team
Yeah.
battle. Okay.
Yeah, it's like team battles. I could be wrong. Is it 3v3? I thought it was 5v5. I think.
Does it have a single player campaign, or is it just a
You're gonna have to ask
3v3?
chat. I don't
Yeah.
know. Well, here you go. This is. I think it's got some stuff here. Let's see. It's got limited time event, creator program, AC area. Let's see if it has anything else. No.
I mean, does anybody else notice how the mech games start pumping out a little bit? You know what I mean? Like they come out in waves, right? Armored Core came out, Mech Warrior 5 came out, Mech Warrior Clans came out. Like now you have Mecha Break. Like they stagger them, but there's like a flow to like the type of game, and like the mech games are starting to come out now.
Water Bear and Slow both say it's a PvE, PvP, and PvP. So
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I might have to give it a try. I have a question. Microtransactions, obviously, it's a free-to-play game. Is it overdone with microtransactions?
It's kind of
like in your face, or is it sub? It's there but not in your face type of stuff. Let me know, chat. So Mega Breaker. Then we got Assassin's Creed. Actually, let's go with Star Wars Eclipse developer. There was a story that broke, but it wasn't official. It was like rumored that NetEase is closing down a bunch of studios. They're getting rid of the dead weight of their studios, and they got rid of a couple studios on the east, or in the west. Sorry, they're in the east, and they thought that Quantum Dream was going to be one of them. Okay, and they're not. So they came out in a statement and said that no, we're fine. So the Star Wars game Eclipse is still being made. It's still out there.
I don't believe that.
Well, for as of right now, Sarge, it's happening still, right? But then again, Wonder Woman was also doing just fine.
Yeah,
right?
I don't believe Eclipse because it's been too long and no one's talked about it.
Right. We've seen nothing. Sort of like Wonder Woman.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the reasons will be they had a problem with scope and direction. It will be the same story. The premise of Eclipse is amazing. And so if you can't close on that type of idea, right? If you can't close on that type of idea, it's the best side eye.
Eclipse, is it still going?
Right? Like it. I love the Star Wars universe. You could do 1,000 years in the past. You could do 1,000 years in the future. I just love the universe.
I'm still a big fan of Star Wars.
If you would just let the artists be the artists and stop trying to interject all this other shit for money-making purposes and let the game speak, right? They would be fine. But they're always trying to tweak shit inside of a game to point it towards something that the artists don't want to do.
Right.
And if you've noticed, every time it's happened to a veteran staff of artists and game developers, they leave and they start their own studio. Every time you see that happen, you know that they've been under control, that they're not allowed to do what they want to do. They have to follow some kind of game plan according to the suits, and they're not able to be creative in the way that they want to be creative. Right. So that's why I'm concerned about Eclipse. Like, you guys think it's like a vending machine. Like, you're going to just put your money in the machine, push the button, you're going to get your candy bar like you get it every other time. Like stuff like this, it angers me because not every game is supposed to succeed, right? It's about the artistry of the game and the team that you put together. If you find the right team of people who are skilled or at least love it, like to work with each other, and they bounce ideas off each other, you see what the results of that is. Look at the past, look at the golden age of gaming, and look what's happened now, right? You don't have the same team synergies. You don't have the same veterancy. Like, everybody's getting shifted around. And let me tell you something. How many times should you be able to get fired before you have a mental breakdown? if you have a job, you move with your kids, you move to Texas, you start a studio, and then it fails. Then you have to move to San Francisco, move your family again. You work for another 5 years, the studio fails, and you got to move again. Like your brain's not well. You can't be an artistic and creative person where you think in the next 5 years I have to move again.
But that's. I was in the arts. I was in that. I was in the film industry.
I get it, bro.
You got to travel all the time.
I get
That's
it.
what it is.
But the game is supposed to be allowed to develop as the game, not based on some kind of roadmap that the suits have, right? I want Eclipse to do well. I'd like to see it be like a new renaissance for a Star Wars game, like to try to trump the Jedi Survivor series. Like we're going in that direction, like darker, grittier, combat's great.
Did you play Detroit Become Human?
A long time ago. Yeah.
See, I think that's what it's going to be more like. I think it's going to be very story driven, not really
like a KOTOR, like a KOTOR, just done it, just modern day.
No, more like Detroit Become Human. Like it was
like,
more
like
of a
that?
choose your own adventure story. That's where I feel like Eclipse is going to be.
Oh God, don't be that. Don't be that.
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be an action and adventure game or anything like that. We
I
know
hope,
nothing of the game.
Well,
you know?
good. I hope you're just talking shit then. I hope you're wrong on so many levels.
I mean, that's what Quantic Dreams makes. They make those types of games.
I would like to see, like, because of like the mech games that are out and these, like, even Assassin's Creed and a lot of the games that have close combat, I'd like to see the combat system be evolved a little bit and be more intuitive to make combat feel more realistic as opposed to button mashing and just trying to hit somebody as fast as you can. Right? Like I would like to see it to where it's almost kind of like what I see in Kingdom Deliverance, where the little stars in the middle, and depending on which side of the star you have the sword on, it blocks or attacks depending on what moves you're going to do against the enemy. Something like that in a more modern setting where you're fighting and your ability to counter moves sets up a combo that's more fluid as opposed to you trying to do button mashing or Street Fighter moves, right? I'd like to see the combat system evolve a little bit. I want to see what comes out. I think the next few games that come out like that, I want to see what the combat system is, because I see what they did with Avowed, right? Avowed is a much more intuitive combat system than the original Skyrim magic system would be, right? Just pausing, put the spell in, go back into the game. Like, that's ridiculous. Right. So you see how far they came with that. So I like to see other combat systems evolve a little bit.
All right. Well, speaking of evolving, okay, Star Wars, okay, for the 5th year straight, Sarge, the 5th year straight, Kathleen Kennedy said that she's going to retire at the end of the year. Now,
she hasn't said dick.
Is
this the show of the dog? This is a dog show.
She didn't say she's leaving.
She didn't. She said nothing.
Nope. Nobody said that. Like, it was reported. Now it's reported by the Hollywood Reporter. Okay, the Hollywood Reporter has said that it's happening, but
she hasn't said dick. Dude.
She hasn't said anything. Right now, there is things that are saying that it was leaked early, and she was going to make the announcement down the road. Look, if it's true, they're going to roll out the red carpet for her, okay, because of all the good that she's done in her career.
Oh yeah, tons.
Okay. I made a video, and in my video, I went on a little rant saying that she's not going to be known for all the stuff that she did in her career.
Oh, no.
She's going to be known
for destroying Star Wars.
For destroying one of the biggest beloved franchises in 7 years. Okay. From when she came in 2012 and when it ended in 2019. Okay. Like, it was done 6 years, 7 years. She destroyed the entire franchise. So much so right now that if you put a brand new Star Wars movie out, I don't care. Right. Andor's coming out. I don't care. Right. Toys. Okay. That are in the stores. Just tons of stuff on the shelves. No one's buying it. Okay. They know no one's buying it. Right. They closed a hotel that was made for Star Wars. If someone told you, Sarge, about 10-year-old you, Sarge, would you like to go to a hotel of Star Wars and meet Darth Vader? You'd be like, yeah. You'd be like screaming, right? And then you get there, and I show you Temu Darth Vader, which is Kylo Ren. Okay? And you'd be like, oh, great. This is not my Star Wars, right? Let me take you to the Star Wars land in the theme park, right? You'd be like, where the hell am I? This is not Star Wars. Where's Hoth? Where's Tatooine? Where's Star Wars, right? That's what she's going to be known for, okay? So
Yeah.
if she does, right? If she does leave, okay, who is going to take over her spot, Sarge? Now, the choices that they're putting out there for us is Feige, Filoni, Favreau, okay, and then there's like a couple others, but those are the three.
All right. So I've been thinking about this. Right, you mentioned the guy's name, and I thought that would be a good name to put in as a secondary spot. But here's what I believe. Right, I believe that her reign is going to end, just not soon enough. Right, when they figure out that she's got no other directions to go in, because she's exhausted all the positions that she can be to try to make a product from Star Wars that because the brand is too damaged. You mentioned something about doing like a little trailer of like Luke Skywalker, like,
oh yeah,
he's dreaming. Like, I heard what you said, right? So I took that piece of information and then I added to it. So let's say that's what you see. It's just a small little clip of Luke Skywalker having a bad dream, and you hear the voice. You think it's his aunt, but really he wakes up finally and it's Mara Jade.
Yep.
And then you see like his kids in the room. And all it is that in his bad dream, you see all the flashback of the last 3 movies and all the bad TV shows and all that shit, right? And he's distraught, and she's like, "It's gonna be okay." And she says, "Like, I'm crying thinking about it." Right? Hang on. And Mara Jade says something like, "Don't worry, honey. It was just a dream." Right?
That's it.
Right? And that's all you have to say.
And then the music crescendos up.
Yeah, like right. Just so like a teaser, and then everyone would be like this, like, what they'd be saying, what is that? And the internet would explode, like, what is that? Who is that? Who made that? Right? And see, my add-on to that would be, it would be Favreau who did it, but he wouldn't say he did it, right? And
right,
then
just put out there.
He just puts it out there and doesn't say anything. Then, when KK finally steps down, right, for however the reason she steps down, whether it be she's fired, she retires, whatever, she gets hit by a bus, whatever happens, that she's no longer there. Right. Then there's a long pause, and the media starts the rumor mill about who's going to take over the place, right? And then it's kind of like a quiet picking, and then Lucas comes out and says, Favreau's going to take over, and then we're going to put Star Wars Theory and a couple other guys who know all the lore about Star Wars, right? And you can pick Feige. I think Feige would be okay in a certain position. Feige would be in a certain position.
He's still doing Marvel, though.
I know you don't like the mix, but you need to have a good brand name in there, a director guy in there, right?
Well, he's a producer. He's Kathleen Kennedy,
I'm sorry,
Marvel.
I'm sorry, producer, right? You need to have a money guy, right? And then, right, everyone's like, what are you talking about? Why are those kids even involved in that? Because they know all the lore about everything. Favreau has creative freedom to do whatever he wants, right? And then they announce that he's in charge. He brings the 2 guys out on stage, and he says, we have a project in the works, but we don't want to say anything right away. And then just have Grand Animal Thrawn come out and sit in a chair. And then everyone knows what the fuck it is.
Right. It's
the End of the Empire trilogy. Right. I got goosebumps thinking about it. Right. You slow build up. You find out that Favreau's got free reign now. He can be creative. No more bullshit from the suits. He can do what he wants. You have kids that are there that are young, who know everything about Star Wars, who are going to help with the lore and everything else. Boom. That will be the only way.
Yeah, they have to completely
get rid of these people.
Because even if Kathleen Kennedy steps down, which Krebsy says, he says, I just put an article in GXG's titled Kathleen Kennedy speaks out on her Lucasfilm plans. She is not soon retiring. The films that will keep her in Star Wars orbit for years to come. She said, and Sarge said this, she's not leaving until she gets
a W.
She gets a W.
Right. She said it. She said it in an interview. Right. It was on a hot mic or something happened. I forget what it was. She said, I'm not leaving without a W.
Even if she does leave,
maybe a greeting card. Maybe she comes out with a greeting card. It counts out as a win.
If she leaves, Lucasfilm is still embedded with the same shit. Like the stuff that we got is made by the people that made 7, 8, and 9.
It's
and
not just
all the
her.
shows.
It's not just
right.
her.
It's not just her. She's the head, right? So if you're gonna blame someone, you blame her because she okayed the stuff, right?
That's correct.
But so did Iger. Iger okayed the park. He okayed that park. He okayed the hotel, right? He okayed all of this stuff. So it's not just Kathleen Kennedy's problem here, right? Filoni's part of the problem. Kennedy's part of the problem.
Yes.
Hidalgo is part of the problem.
Yes, but if Favreau is in Kathleen Kennedy's position, then he gets to fire whoever he wants.
Sure. Right? I just don't understand a company like you want to bring in someone, you want to make money. You want to make money, and
I thought that was the goal.
That is the goal, right?
I thought
the
that was
goal
the
is
goal.
to make as much money as possible as a corporation.
Yeah, I
right?
thought that was the goal.
Grab an IP that they know what they're fucking doing with, and then make it, right? If that's scouring the internet and bringing people like Star Wars Theory or other creators out there that know Star Wars, or other independent filmmakers that are like some of their films they make for YouTube are like mind blowing compared to what the studio's doing themselves with the millions of dollars that they have, right? Like my thing that you said which was just a small little picture of Luke, right? You have a little cottage there. You hear the little music, da, 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 right? Just a little thing, and all of a sudden it comes through the window, and you see Luke there, and all of a sudden you see the flashbacks of all the stuff that's happening, right? And you hear Luke, right? Like, and you think it's his aunt, and then all of a sudden Mara Jake is there holding the kid. It's okay, it's just a bad dream. Oh, thank God. Da-da-da, right? And then that's it. Cut. Everyone's like, what is this real?
People would lose their
Please let this
mind.
be real.
People would lose their mind.
That's it.
Right. That's all you have to do.
Just like they lost their mind when they saw Luke at the end of Mando season 2 when he came in and saved everybody.
That is the most profound moment in all of Star Wars history. Was that moment right there?
Yeah.
And nobody and the people who actually made it, they were mad inside the studio. They were mad that he released it and didn't tell them. Right. He had to hide it from them to put it out there. Remember the big hoopla that happened?
Yeah.
That Favreau had a fight to put that in there. They didn't want to do that because they want to pass to die. Look at the line said by Kylo Ren in the movie. He said it outright.
You gotta let
the past die. Kill it if you have to.
Right.
Yeah. That was directed at us. That wasn't directed as a line in the movie. That was the line directed at you to say, let it go. We're in charge now. And now the answer is, no, the fuck you're not.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Andor season 2. I would like to see Favreau take charge. Look, Favreau rebooted Marvel. He made Iron Man and made it what it is to hand it off to make other movies.
We know he can do
He made Mando, and Mando was a good show. Okay, like what he touches,
but he fought the whole time. They wore him down the whole time. He made a good show, but they were fighting him the whole
which got worse and worse as he got relinquished power.
Yeah, because they're wearing him. He's getting. If you're trying to be creative and trying to sell a product and you're told the whole time that you're doing a bad job, you have to do it this way, not this way the whole time, you get worn down, man. You're like, I'm out.
Right.
If he gets creative control and he's in Kathleen Kennedy's position, he could do whatever the hell he wants.
Right. So that's the Star Wars stuff. Real quick, Dauntless, the monster hunting game. We had Monster Hunter, came to PC, will shut down in May. So we know what happens there.
Dakota's busy today, bro.
Yeah, he's very busy today. So Dauntless, I actually made a video saying that if it does go under, good riddance. See you later. You got bought out by a cryptocurrency maker, and I was like, good riddance. It was fun playing you for 300 hours, but you shit on my time, and I hope you go under. That's not me celebrating. I supported that company. I gave them my hard-earned money. I played their game. I put the 300 hours in. I gave them money after money for season passes, enjoyed the game, and then they shit on my time. They shit on my thing. So have a good time not having a job. Studio closed down. You lose everything. See you later. So there's Dauntless. All right. Then we have Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Shadows gameplay is being leaked online right now as early copies have already in players' hands.
It's just hilarious, bro. They're
Like they
selling
can't
they're
they can't
selling,
catch a break with this game.
they're selling shit on eBay, $100 for a copy.
$100. Yeah, they can't catch a break.
It's just
Robert Jones says public service
It's
announcement reminder to download multiverses.
it's so mind-boggling to me that they would allow the product to be on the shelf at all. Like, who's in charge at these box stores? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Right? You're just
Allstrom says, I don't know about you, but I'm celebrating companies like this should go under. You hear me, Mark Daria? Right. So they're having look between the what the game is not historically accurate, between the being racist, being where they're putting markers in the game they're really like about the atom bomb that went off. Right.
the shrine. The shrine, yeah.
The shrine. They have so many things of the bugs and glitches, and now the early access or the hard copies are out in the wild, and people are playing the game. Just at some point, you just gotta laugh.
I mean, I'll wish them well, but we'll see how it goes.
Now, see, I don't want them to have problems because I'm not buying the game, right? I'm not investing my time or money into their project, right? Dauntless, I invested my money and time, and they didn't give a shit, right? So, like, if I did this and they didn't care, well, then I would also hope that these guys had a problem with the game. But
I mean, I'm going back to basics, bro. Right? If you do good at your job, you get promoted. Your company gets to live on. If you make a bad product consistently, not just one time, consistently, you no longer have a job and the company closes down. That's the nature of the business.
Here's the thing: when I worked in the film industry, right? If I worked for a studio and I was just working on movie after movie for them or commercial after commercial, right? Good or bad, I would still work, right? It doesn't matter. I would if I made a shitty commercial or a shitty music video or a shitty movie, I didn't care. I got a paycheck, right? And if I wanted my name associated with that, I would say, yeah, you can put my name in the credits. Okay. But if I didn't, don't worry about it. I don't even care. I got the check and move on to the next job. Right. Now I know it's a little different because they're taking 5 years of their time to work on one game.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to put your name in the credits because your next job, you're like, what did you do? What did you do the last 5 years in the industry? Well, I worked for this company and this is what I did. Right. But to take offense to as long as you did your best for your job for a shitty game or for a great game,
yep,
I wouldn't care. I'd be like, well, I did the trash, or I made the walls, I did the trees, whatever. I'm really happy what I did, right? I would never take offense to, oh, well, they're shitting on my game. Be like, oh, well, there goes that game, right? I'll just work on the next one, see what I can do better.
That's
me
correct.
Personally, right? Like as the organization itself, you can only do what you can do personally, whatever you're working on.
It's a team effort, man.
Sure.
Right? Hundreds of people are working on a game. It's all got to jive. If there's internal struggle inside the company on any level, it's going to come off in the product.
Right.
Redos, rehashing stuff, redoing worlds, redoing levels, redoing people's faces. Like, right? Everyone agrees, and then they don't agree. They fight each other. Like, all that comes out in the game, bro. The overages on the budget, how long it takes, people get fired. Contractor. What do you know why sometimes I think they hire the outside contractors? Because there's so much infighting with the vision of the way they want to go. They get an outside guy to come in, like, this is what we want to do, just do this and we're done, right? Let them work on something else.
Yeah.
Right?
Sometimes it's just easier.
Right.
You don't got to pay the benefits, you don't got to do all that stuff, but it's also you don't have the headache. You have an outside perspective coming in, they do their job and they fucking leave, and that's it.
Well, the other reason why you hire contractors is because you've been working your guys too hard. You get to pay all this overtime, right?
Sure. Right. That's what I said. You don't want to pay overtime. You don't want to pay benefits.
You hire contractors, so you don't have to pay overtime. That's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
It all adds up. It all adds up.
As long as you're a person doing your job, like I could be the best goddamn camera person in the world and have all my shots in focus and do all the stuff, but if the actor sucks on screen, I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like I can only do my job. So if you're an artist and doing the floor, the ceiling, the walls, the game design, the combat, whatever it is, as long as you know that you did a good job and people are like, you know what, this game is a bad game, but the combat's awesome. If you worked on combat, right? Tim Kaine would be happy because you knew what you liked. Okay.
I would have to imagine, especially now, that if you look at your resume for what you've done, if you're getting hired at a development studio, that after the initial, your resume looks good, like you've worked on enough stuff, I think there's probably like a power lunch where they go out and hang out with him to see if he can jive well with the team, because that's a big thing. You have to be able to work with the other people in your team. Right. And I'm not saying like on some kind of like bias level. I'm just talking about some people just don't jive. Like your heads bang together when you're trying to do projects, right? Look at these games that are coming out. There's problems. They had problems, right? And it's not always management, but management takes the responsibility for it. Absolutely.
All right, we're going to go to Level Cap's video here. Level Cap had a video talking about features in the next Battlefield that needs what they need. Okay, when I saw this, I was like, oh, we got to talk about this, because Sarge has been talking about stuff like this in Battlefield to bring it to like the next level. Like, how does Battlefield go to the next level without graphic-wise, without all that other stuff, right? Just make a Battlefield game, but how do I make a Battlefield game better? So we're going to watch this and pause it as you know, let me know if you want to say a couple things as we go through, Sarge.
Modern military setting. But is this new game just going to retrace its old footsteps, or will it be looking to update the franchise in new and interesting ways? Today, I want to talk about my most wanted features for the next Battlefield game. Let's dive in. Let's start.
The video might be a little stuttery for you guys, but you can hear what he's saying. So
off with something a little bit more.
Go ahead, Sarge.
No, go ahead. Let it play.
More outside the box. This is something I really have wanted DICE to experiment with over the past few titles, and that is updating the base game modes to be more dynamic. Conquest, Rush, Frontlines, Breakthrough, they've all been done for better or worse from one game to the next, with very little core functionality changing in meaningful ways. DICE gambled that their new Royales and Extraction modes would bring that interesting update and change to the franchise, while neglecting the core modes and just leaving them as is. And what I'd like to see is a complete reimagining of how a Conquest round plays out. In fact, what I'm about to talk about is something that we're starting to see pop up in other games, because they're figuring out what I feel is an obvious path for many of these classic modes. Conquest could be massively enhanced with mini games during a match that when won could provide
small little orders given to you.
He says mini game, different version of what I had said, but it's exactly the same.
Which is like in Hell Let Loose, when your commander tells you, hey, we need someone to take out the guns in the back. You know, what squad wants to do that? And Baker Squad's on it. You know what I mean? All right, Baker Squad's going there, right? Like little, as he said, mini games, right? Different objectives, not just attack C, attack A, attack B type of thing, right? They have vehicles in the back. We need to take their ammo depot out, right? So they have less ammo in the guns or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
An advantage. These minigames could be things like supply caches appearing at random times during a match, providing a sprint and intense battle for a singular objective. There could be many different types of these minigames, like the first team to locate a tactical nuke could potentially destroy their opponent's gimme objective, creating a more asymmetrical map for the team. These minigames could also be huge in variety and randomly spawn, so no two matches could play out the same way.
And little things like this is what would separate, just like I've said before, Sarge, when you've talked about it, this is what would separate this game from other games, right? Yes. Because Battlefield's Battlefield, Call of Duty's Call of Duty, but everyone's like, well, this is a Call of Duty clone, or this is the competitor. Battlefield's completely different. There's those moments that you have. Remember we used to make our own goals up? We're like, all right, let's go around the side, right? We would make our own things to do. We just wanted in the game.
We would go to the base and make sure they had no vehicles. We would keep blowing up their vehicles in the spawn. We put explosives on everything and then wait for someone to get into the tank and then blow it up.
Yeah. Cut off the roads. Whatever.
Put mines on the road. Stop them from using their vehicles to get out. Yeah.
Right.
Back objectives that spawn in powerful vehicles could also be great. Maybe even one that spawns in, say, an AC-130 or something to provide additional value to the less centralized objectives. They could also play around with the idea of enhancing the endgame experience to make the win condition more exciting. Sudden death endgame conditions could be really cool. Maybe vehicles stop spawning. Maybe players are unable to respawn, and all of a sudden the combat gets centralized around one or
Yeah, I don't want to take over like C, and because you take over C, you get an extra tank. No, there's points of taking over positions, and then in between the points of taking positions, there's the supply depot, there's the tank depot, and whoever owns the depot gets more tanks, gets one extra tank or one extra plane. You know what I mean?
Right. If you blow up the supply depot, they don't get to spawn vehicles for 5 minutes.
Right.
Right.
Or their ammo, they have 5 less bullets in the gun or something like that. You know what I mean?
Or they don't get reloads for a little bit. Like,
Right.
Yeah, which would almost be on the COD level, but like at the same time, we're just spitballing here.
Right, but it's a military thing, and you want something to change it up a little bit, but keep it battlefield, right?
Yeah.
two objectives, making things really crazy and wild at the end of a round. There's all kinds of things that they could play with here, and it's less about me wanting them to do something super specific and rather just playing with a whole bunch of new ways of innovating these classic.
And it's got to be group driven, right?
Yes.
Group driven.
Yes.
Modes. Now, past Battlefield games have played with the idea of a player commander for each team. That
I remember this. I remember when I used to play this, and I would be on my tablet, and I'd just be calling the shit out, right? And they got rid of it.
It was interesting. It was interesting.
It was great. It was really cool. It's basically what you did for Hell Let Loose now.
But the difference is they never built upon it. They only did it one time. This
was the tornado, whatever that time frame.
Right. They did it for a limited time, and they didn't try to make it better. Like, I think a commander would be cool, but they should have just advanced some of the things, do different things, try something new, not try it one time and say like, we're done.
Had access to specific abilities that would give your team an advantage. And this role varied throughout each implementation over different games in the franchise. And it certainly earned some fans of the mechanic, but it also had many flaws of being over.
Robert Jones says toilet commander. Yeah. You should sit on the shitter and just be the commander.
That's right.
Really simplistic and also putting
have a
team
mic,
at
so you hear the flushing.
Huge disadvantage if you just didn't have a commander or your commander wasn't doing their job. And I still like the idea of a commander, but I was thinking that an AI commander could solve a lot of problems and make things pretty interesting for each team. An AI commander could do things like tracking specific squads and giving them bonus objectives during a round. It might also be able to do things like analyze a team's problems and specifically give them objectives.
I like that idea about the AI commander.
Based on what they're not doing particularly well. Like if it saw that a team was constantly losing their gimme flag, which is one of the easiest objectives to capture, it could give them bonus points for capturing that objective, trying to teach them how to play the map in a more strategic way. AI commanders could also look at, say, the top squads for each team and give them similar objectives so that those squads ended up fighting each other more often.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Right. So if it knows that your number one squad, it knows your number one squad and takes the other number one squad, and it forces you to go towards a certain area of the map, and it's just your squad versus the other squad.
I think it'd be interesting because then what would happen is like the AI.
It's like skill-based matchmaking within the game on the fly.
Right. The AIs on both sides are saying these are the top two squads. Let's put them into a firefight together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
On purpose. Right.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
It makes it interesting.
Specific bonuses that could help out those teams. It could also be used as an interesting tool to create a balance shift. If one team was absolutely getting slaughtered, the AI commander could start providing more spotting intel or power-ups, similar to the behemoth mechanic in Battlefield 1, but maybe
right.
So you don't get
just
pinned.
Not with behemoths. Anyway, I think there's all kinds of really fun ideas that could be explored with smart AI commanders, and the beauty of the system is that it could be updated quickly with interesting new features and balanced mechanics to change up modes.
Like you take out the supply depot, so you can't heal people for like 2 minutes.
Well,
like little stuff like that.
But anything could be plausible now, right? So let's stick with the AI thing, right? So let's say you get pinned, right? Like you get pinned in the base, you know how that's the worst, right? When you get pinned in the base and you can't move, everyone gets pissed off, they start leaving, right? Well, when you get pinned, like the AI commander, like make it like interesting, like you're in trouble, stuff's getting bombed, and you hear like the guy go, like the commander goes broken arrow, like, and then all of a sudden like all this shit just appears. You get pinned for a little while to make you feel like you're oppressed, right? And then like a carpet bombing thing comes over, tanks start dropping from the sky in order to give them like the last, like, get them out of here, like to try to like
one
push
last ditch
but,
effort.
But it would be cool because then they know when they pin them that shit was going to happen, so it makes it look like epic. Right, like
right. It's almost like having the, like he said, like the blimp or the train
but like
coming.
but on a larger scale because it's
right.
a Battlefield game, right? I think it'd be
Like you could have different
Badass.
types of commanders chosen randomly that maybe would specialize in different things. Intel versus extra vehicles or something like that. Now, I've seen a lot of players say that they miss the Battlefield 5 squad call-ins. 2042 still sort of had call-ins, but it was for like vehicles and stuff, and it didn't operate in a similar way. In Battlefield 5, your squad would get rewarded for playing the objective, and if your squad got...
I think they should bring back Battlefield 5 mechanics as far as building sandbags and stuff like that, like building up.
But it was
I like
token. It was token though. Like you built up the point and then they got destroyed like immediately. It wasn't like a sustained defense point. Like if you're gonna make me build something, then at least let it hold its value for a little while. It was like instantly killed, right? It wasn't giving you protection for more than like 10 seconds.
Well, I like the mechanic. Like, wouldn't it be cool if you could dig yourself a trench?
Well, you could dig your trench in Battlefield 5.
But that would be better than putting sandbags. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like the mechanic that they put in there.
But they have to make it actually. It's got to be purposeful. Like if there's no ditch, right, and then
not everybody can do it either. Like you have to have a support guy comes in with a shovel and digs.
But that's
right.
in 5. It's the same thing. Like it's meant to be like if you're on a position that's exposed, then you can build things to stop being exposed to snipers. Or if I'm on a spot with no trenches and I've got the angle for them against us going downhill means they can get shots. No, if I build trenches, then I can get a better protection into fire back. It has to be purposeful. Otherwise, if you're just building shit just to build shit and it gets blown up in 10 seconds, no one cares.
Here's a cool thing they could add to Battlefield. Are you ready? So in Starship Troopers, there's a moment that when you clear out and you have to get the base, you have to build the base, right? You got to build the base before the onslaught of bugs comes and gets you, right?
Yep.
Before the match starts, the defending team gets to get 30 seconds, a minute, or whatever to create shit, right? So the map is the map, but you're changing the map because you're putting sandbags up, you're putting nests up, you're doing different things, and then they come, so it changes all the time. Right, so that would be interesting if you could defend,
or you have 20 minutes to play that match, and then depending what happens, if the supplies didn't get destroyed, now you have more supplies to put down for more defenses, and you have another 20 minutes.
Operations or something.
Like it's the same, like an operations type of thing, but it's like a 20-minute match or 30-minute match. That way, if you do well, it goes on for like an hour. If you don't do well, I think 20 minutes is good because you can have 3 matches in the hour. You know what I mean? If it's clocked up. There's just so many things you can do.
Right.
Points, they could call in really cool things like smoke, vehicles, or a giant V1 rocket. There were certainly flaws with the system, but it provided a really cool incentive for playing together as a squad, and it also gave you these fun sort of tide-turning moments if you timed some of these abilities perfectly. This could absolutely translate into a modern military game, probably even a little...
Look at Battlefield 5 and look at when they go back to Battlefield 2042. Look at the difference. It's like,
oh yeah,
what am I looking at, bro?
Yeah. Here's
what
5.
am I looking at?
Perfectly. This could absolutely
it's so sterile.
Right. It is. It's fucking sterile.
Yeah, it's sterile. It doesn't look like it's lived in.
Translate into a modern military game, probably even a little bit more accurately. If we're being honest, you could call in things like an AC-130 to focus fire down certain things on an objective. There could just be some really cool, epic, tide-turning moments again, and I think anything that incentivizes squad play more would be good for the player base. Now, despite Battlefield being around for over 2 decades now, they've never really kind of solidified their game plan for infantry versus vehicle combat. It seems to switch up pretty drastically from one title to the next. I think Battlefield 1 had some of my favorite balance mechanics where all the classes in the game seemed to...
What Battlefield was it where they had the tank battle? Just a tank. Was it 42 or was it
Well, they did a version in Bad Company but the original version was Battlefield 1942, where one of the maps was just tank versus tank.
Yeah, just tank versus tank. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you lose the tank, you get some of their vehicles, you could run
Sure.
around. But
Sure.
in the beginning, they spawned like I think it was like 8 tanks aside or 9 tanks aside.
Yeah, it was cool.
And
I
it makes it interesting. Yeah.
to be able to contribute to anti-vehicle gameplay in some form or another. Recons could switch to their K-bullets to disable vehicle components or shoot giant holes in airplane wings. Supports could charge in with their limpet mines. Medics could lay down cover with smoke or even try and damage vehicles with grenades. It was just a cool way of doing things that gave everyone in a squad a role to play when a tank rolled onto the battlefield. And recently, while playing Arma Reforger, a squad of enemies pulled up to our base in an MRAP, and when I tossed a grenade in to kill the gunner, I immediately thought, why isn't this feature in Battlefield? A skill mechanic where getting a grenade into just the right spot of a vehicle doing bonus damage. Things like this could be a really fun way to create skill shots and
This is a game I want to play. I don't know if you want to pick this up.
allow everyone
No, this is Armor Reforge.
on a team to contribute to anti-vehicle gameplay in some form or another. Now, another thing that I think BF1 did pretty good at was Battlefield pickups with cool things like dynamic classes, like the Trench Runner or the Flame Trooper. I also really like that you could spawn unique classes back from deployment areas. The Cavalry class in BF1 was one of my favorite ways to play the game, and though that doesn't really translate to modern Battlefield exactly, because I don't think you'd want to see guys riding around on horses. They could certainly find some interesting way to create bespoke classes. Another feature that's becoming much more common in these types of games that Battlefield has really slept on.
That guy was terrible. He can't look at him. He comes running.
Another feature that's becoming much more common in these types of games that Battlefield has really slept on is proximity chat. It's become the highlight of games like BattleBit and Arma Reforger. It's super simple. Most players have microphones now. It's a very intuitive, easy way to coordinate, share information, make friends, and just have extra fun. It's kind of a shock to me that this hasn't become a
because EA's like, we don't want people to be mean to each other. Like, people that like it, there's always going to be a salty asshole, right? But for the most part, everyone gets together and plays the game because they want to work together.
Staple of the franchise. Obviously, there's some complications and
at least adults do.
Concerns with it, like too much profanity or annoying players, but the games that do it really well give you quick mute commands so that you can almost immediately turn off an annoying player's voice chat if they're just ruining the experience for you without having to go into a menu or something like that. Another feature that's been used sparingly throughout Battlefield is the ability to vote on maps. I personally like the setup where at the end of a round it gives you the choice between 2 maps. It seems to be a good way of forcing some map variety, but also giving the players a little bit of agency over what they're going to get next. Plus, the franchise has always had problems with me installing a day 1 patch to play the new map and content, only for that content to rarely come up in rotation. Map voting and even a special slot for the new featured maps would go a long way just to making DLC and new content flow much better. Now, if I'm being honest, there's not a lot of features from 2042 that I would like to see carried over.
The only thing I think from 2042 I would carry over is the quick swap, the way you can swap the different.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, the scopes and stuff like that.
You didn't have to wait for the end of the map, so you could just kind of. Yeah. That was
we're into a modern game, but one thing that I think DICE was sort of on the right path with, but never quite got there, was the plus system for weapon customization. Yeah, so the ability to swap out components on your gun in the middle of a firefight or on the battlefield. It was a bit unrealistic, and the amount of options, I think, were the main problem with it, where there are like...
This map here was the one I was talking about. This is the one.
This is the one where you start off with the tanks and you come around
on the highway, right? And you're invading during the highway.
And you do the dog leg and you come down into the.
Yes, this is a great map.
Letting you swap out all these different kinds of barrel attachments and optics and ammo, and you're like, that's too many changes and too much for me to think about in the middle of a firefight. It would be cool to see them try and evolve this system into something simpler, where you might get the option to add 1 or 2 customization choices onto a weapon. So you could swap out optics or swap out your ammo and just keep it simpler and more accessible. I think there's a lot of fun and variety that came with this system to make sure that players never ended up in a combat scenario where their weapon was completely ill-equipped for the enemies coming at them. Now, there's plenty of other granular features that I would love to see return to the franchise, but those are some of my top picks, and I'd be curious to hear from you guys in the comments, what do you want to see in the next Battlefield game? With the closed playtests in Battlefield Labs, this is the time that DICE is listening to the community.
All right, so there it is. I like some of the stuff that he said though about what the way it could evolve, right? The way it could change and the way it could, make Battlefield a better overall experience.
Dude, with those kind of modifications to the game, Battlefield would be a fantastic game. You'd have people who want to play team based with vehicles, give people reasons, the unlocks. It would all click again. They're just. I'll wait to see. All right, but I'm not holding my breath that the 4 studios are going to knock it out of the park. We'll see.
Yeah, but my problem is 4 studios working on it. They're all doing sort of something different.
They're all working on one thing, but they're all working on one
single
thing.
player battle royale, whatever.
The campaign.
It's got to come out and it's got to work.
Do you remember?
It can't
do you
stumble
remember
like
the?
Battlefield
Do you remember the
2042.
story campaigns? Do you remember the story campaigns from Battlefield 1? Did you remember them
From Battlefield?
Oh yeah,
1. yeah. I do.
They were written very well.
Yeah, they're like little historical parts of the
Yeah. They could just do that with modern version though.
Right. You don't have to give me. I don't need a story like they did for Bad Company, right?
But
you
that
can
was
have
a good story.
sure, but you could have little stories for each of the segments of the.
Sure.
Yeah, you don't have to have a whole full. Campaign.
I did like what they did in Battlefield Bad Company, where this was a way for unlocking guns. As you played through the story, if you found the gun in the campaign, that gun was unlocked in multiplayer. So it made you go through the campaign to find those guns.
And you have more guns.
Use them, so you could use them in multiplayer. I think that was a good idea because then you play the campaign. You go through it. You're looking around.
Well, now they just let you charge $5 and get the gun.
No, I know. We wouldn't want people. We don't want people to play the game. I know how this goes.
All right, the last story I want to talk about before we leave is John Lithgow. You know John Lithgow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Harry and the Hendersons, and was he the bad guy in Die Hard?
Third Rock from the Sun.
Third Rock from the Sun. Was he the bad guy in Die Hard?
No.
What?
No.
He was a bad guy in what?
He was a bad guy in a couple things.
What was he bad guy in?
He was a psychopath in Raising Cain. He was a lunatic in the Buckaroo Banzai movie from back in the 80s.
I forget there was one. He was a really badass bad guy, and I can't remember what movie that was. Chat, help me out here.
Well, I have to go back and think. I got to think about it a little bit. But
I don't want to look it up.
But those are the ones. Those are the ones that come to mind.
Anyway, he's going to be playing. Okay, John Lithgow will be playing Dumbledore inside the Harry Potter series that's going to be on HBO. So he's 87 years old. So hopefully
He sticks around.
He's here for a bit. Was it Dexter? No. Well, it might have been Dexter. I never saw Dexter, but there was a movie he was a bad guy in. I just can't remember the movie. Doesn't really matter. I like him as an actor, and I think this is actually a pretty good casting for Dumbledore. But we'll see what happens. Someone in the first thing says, "Is he English?" Like no. he has to be British to be Dumbledore. Like they're called actors. Like you can act. Cliffhanger. I think that's it. King speaks. Yes. It is cliffhanger. Yes, that's what I'm thinking of.
It all comes back. It all comes out eventually.
It's in here.
It's in there. It's in there. The recall is horrible.
No.
I need more RAM.
COVID broke my RAM.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for the day where you like this. Oh, bro, I can't remember anything. I gotta upgrade my RAM. Put the thing in my neck because I can remember shit.
Just gotta swap it out real fast. Right, you have like your sports, and then you got your
We are gonna go fully Johnny Mnemonic. That's gonna be a thing.
Yeah. Because I'm going to be playing Avowed, we're not going to do Q&A today, so no Q&A this week. I'm going to take a quick break in between the show and the next stream. The next stream will be at 10, probably 10:30, but I'll probably start at 10:20. Right, so I'll take a quick break. So that's going to do it for Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. Episode 430 is in the can. If you guys like what we do here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We are live Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can listen to the past broadcasts on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm, and anywhere else a podcast is heard. Again, we're going to be doing Avowed, more playthrough of Avowed right after the show around 10:20. That'll be over on my other channel, 30 and Still Gaming. The links are in the description down below, or on the channel. Just scroll down and you'll see the other channel. Appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night. And if you guys want to watch the daily grind, we're off until Monday, but I'm going to stream sometime tomorrow afternoon, morning, or afternoon for more Avowed as well. So you guys have a great one, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Game on, guys.
Retro meets the now and here. Gaming tales you need to hear. Laugh and shout and sometimes sneer. Memories from all those years. Console wars and secret tips. Tips and tricks from pixel trips. News that pours from gaming